Good morning and welcome to Daily Game Design. Time to rock and roll. I wanted to show you a little bit about where I ended up with Party Wave. Still got a little more feedback on the sell sheet. I applied what I could. I mean, ultimately, it's still pretty messy and busy. That's what I felt that. I just got some more feedback about that on my Facebook post. But there was kind of some disagreement on that. It was kind of back and forth, and I figured, well, it's fine. I simplified, I cleaned some stuff up. I actually really like, for instance, I like how there's this kind of color coding here. The pink and the pink, as an example, the purple and purple, and the yellow and yellow. Even though it's busy on the eyes, I feel like, I mean, yeah, it's not great, but there's not a whole lot of information on it, which was part of the advice as well. And I think that's something I have pretty well internalized. It's that you really want to focus on a few moments, a few key ideas, and not I don't know, some crazy amount of information, like exactly how the game works. But on your turn does seem pretty important. But just highlighting what people will feel or the decisions they get to make, that's the main thing. So that's why these are all active. Catch long waves, risk extending, race two. It's because you want to suggest that players get to do things. You want to capture that sense of energy and intensity and tension in there somehow. Anyway, so I don't mind that result. I actually, one of the nice things. So if you've seen my sell sheets before, you know that often I'll have the game. What would you call these stats? Like up here somewhere. And some of the feedback was that's just not that important. Like people will get the publisher will get back to it eventually. Main thing is they want to know what is the game, the mood, you know. I mean, obviously if it's a two-player game, they probably would want to know that, but 1 to 4 is fairly common. I mean, they would want to know that sooner than later. But also it just opened up this area, let me spread Party Wave out. And then I decided to go the really simple. Well, I don't know if I have an older one. Here it is. This is not even the oldest iteration. I cut out, I think I showed it yesterday, but not yesterday. You know what? I woke up around 7 yesterday and was working on some stuff or just kind of hanging out, scrolling or something. Somehow did not realize I had student meetings at 8. So I knew I had meetings. I wasn't going into school. Oh, but somehow the 8 o'clock snuck up on me. I started getting texts from the teacher I have working with me over at the school where most of my students are. She was texting me about students having trouble signing up for conferences, and luckily that was 5 minutes before 8. Then I looked and said, oh, I have an 8 o'clock. Let me make this happen. So I got up, made a coffee really quick, had a super simple, fast breakfast, whatever it was. Speaking of simple, fast breakfast, what I did this morning was made a couple of egg McMuffins. Dan and Deb left some egg muffins, English muffins with me, and I have not had those in a long time. So I threw a couple in the toaster oven, folded a slice of cheese and put it on each one. And then I whisked up a couple of eggs with a little mayo and some salt and pepper, microwaved it for a couple of minutes, and had these perfect little English muffins. It was just awesome, and it was really fast and really easy. So that was pretty amazing. Anyway, that was breakfast today. But yesterday, then I sat down and had meetings. Literally, was scheduled to have meetings until about 5:30. Two students missed, and I think I had 30 minutes off. Two sessions of 30 minutes off otherwise. So there were incidentally a couple of hours. There were 2 hour breaks in there, but it was still a long day. So anyway, I didn't end up streaming yesterday, which was kind of a bummer. The other thing I wanted to show you, well, actually two things. Apart from the sell sheet, which I think you saw me working on, was a quick rule book. So I threw together a rule book. I didn't realize this, but I was building the email for Yellow, the publisher that called for Dice Games in the first place, and the one that, kind of put me into high gear for getting a rule book, getting the game done. I went back and looked at their post on Instagram and saw a couple of their comments, and they were asking for a sell sheet and a draft of a rule book. And I thought, oh shoot, I haven't done a rule book yet. So, hey Francisco. Good morning. So I hadn't made any progress on a rule book. And so then I just worked with Gemini real quick, made a bunch of edits as Gemini went, and then pumped out this rule book. And these are not great, like these illustrations and stuff, not super good. The other thing, well, I feel like it's fairly clear. I'm sure there are little things that are not super, super clear, but it was a quick rule book. It only needed to be a draft anyway. And I do think it generally captures the main ideas with a good amount of clarity. So there might be a couple things I missed or forgot, but in general, they should be able to understand the game. I just wish I had built out the illustrations a little better. But, well, there's a rulebook now, and it's actually fairly short, which was pretty awesome. Because this game, I do want it to be what one of the playtesters on Sunday said it was, which was just like a very welcoming gateway weight game. He mentioned, he mentioned, what was it? Splendor as a weight. And yeah, I would love this to be, it's still definitely not as complex as, like, for example, Dice Throne, right? Which is a Yahtzee style game. This is not exactly Yahtzee style. So I wonder what a comparable, it's not as easy as like Farkle or some of these other, just like pure Yahtzee, like roll hoping for matches and stuff. But somewhere in there, so it's not mass market, but it should be gateway. And anyway, the rulebook being fairly short is encouraging for that reason. Okay, I'll be done just scrolling up and down, and I'll show you my pitch video. So I tried something in this pitch video that I haven't done before, as far as as far as the kind of editing that I was willing to do. I think I do end up highlighting a decent number of important ideas. I think there's one that's not super clear in the way I show one example, but in general, I think I feel good for how much time I spent on it, because that's one of the things, like pitch videos, especially Yeah, pitch videos have taken me a long time, in part because of the number of takes. Okay, so I'll jump in here. I'm going to mute myself in a second.
The sun is setting, and you and your friends decide to catch a few more waves before paddling in for the night. Hey, I'm Scott with Cabletop Games, and I live on the island of Oahu in Hawaii, and I want to create a game that captures that just one more wave energy of a sunset surf session. So this is Party Wave. Party Wave is an accessible push your luck game for 1 to 4 players.
So of course that was the main difference, where I did a very short intro with my face, and then I transitioned to just the video of TTS. That's like the major difference, and that was great because then obviously I felt no pressure to be looking at the camera and do everything in one take. I don't need to feel the need to do something in one take anyway, but this just even felt more free in a really helpful way for me. Let's see. Would you say you pitch at about 75 miles an hour? My pitch is probably only in the 40s. Good job recognizing. Let's say I was being silly and those comments not worth engaging with. It's the problem is they were covered up. That's the main problem. You know what? I actually used to pitch in Little League. I was like pitcher. I played third base, played shortstop, and I was pitching in I remember a pitch. What are those like at a baseball game? Like a pitching booth or some pitching, whatever, where you could, like, there was a speed gun and you pitch and see how fast you're pitching. I remember pitching like 66, which was also not that impressive. It felt good. I used to feel like I had a pretty strong arm, but that in the 60s is not very strong. Okay, I'm going to finish the video here.
It's built on dice chucking, tactical maneuvering, and set collection. A turn in Party Wave is all about the thrill of the ride. You'll roll your dice and choose one value to place on the wave. In the case of yellow, their first roll, they rolled 2 6s, and they started the wave all the way up here in the row of 6s, and then began trying to create this skill pattern right here. From there, yellow had a choice: bank their progress and pass the turn, or push on to finish a skill and eventually earn length bonuses. But see, there's a catch with continuing your turn. If you choose to roll again, you can only place dice of an equal or lesser value than your last roll. In the case of yellow's second roll, they rolled 2 5s. They placed those 2 5s heading towards shore, and they rolled again. They rolled at the highest a 2. They placed that 2. And finally, they decided to push their...
Like, this section was not as clear as I was hoping, because I think it kind of sounds like the player rolled just like 2 dice at a time or something, whereas they roll all of the dice, and then the highest dice that they rolled were 5s. And then they rolled all of their dice, all their remaining dice, which would have been only 2 dice. And it probably would have been a better example to actually show it, and show that, let's say, they rolled a 2 and a 6. So even if they wanted to, like, a 6 would have been fun to place, it would have been nice, but they had to place a 2 because it was lower. The rule is it has to be equal to or lower than the value of the die closest to the shore, which is a 5. So that's a little bit tricky to describe, but I wish I had highlighted that a little better, because that is probably one of the most important ideas, and just understanding that you roll all of your dice and then you place one of those, all dice of one value after you roll. And I feel like that could have been clearer.
all the way, and they did succeed in rolling a 1. In this case, all of their dice are used up. They place their surfboard on the die closest to shore, and then they're going to score their skill card. Whenever you score a skill card, you pull all of the dice behind your surfboard off of the game board, and then give yourself the number of points equal to the lowest die in that group of dice. In this case, it's a 2. However, because yellow pushed really far, they're actually also going to score a bonus of 5 points right here. So this skill card gave them 7 points, and it's also going to join a set in their player area to help them score points at the end of the game. Nice job, Yellow.
I also think that just highlighting that, I think in my voice and like the little chuckle that happens, I think they understand that the score could have been higher, but I think highlighting that, oh, if this was a 5, they would have scored. They would have scored 10 points instead of 7 points. I wish I'd highlighted that.
Let's look at one more example of scoring. Now, scoring at the end of the wave works like this. Whatever die you place on this spot is going to give you points equal to that value, plus the value on the die on the shore. In this case, purple had started the wave really close on a 3, completed a shape, and was considering surfing all the way in and ending the wave. However, the best they could do is score a 2 or a 1 on this spot after rolling a 2 here. So instead what they do is they decide to mark their die with their surfboard and wait for their next turn. In their next turn, they can roll any number value here, and then they'll score that. However, by passing their turn, they open the door for red. Now, all red needs to do is roll fairly well. Let's say red rolls a 6, maybe another 6, and then let's just imagine 2 5s. So red would end their movement here and then score 11 points at the end of the wave. This is important because this die is going to tick down every time a player ends a wave in front of it. So you can see there's tension between racing down to get these good points here or slowing down in order to place the value of a good die right here. The winner is the player who earns the most style points by the time either the shore dice run out or the skill cards run out. So it's fast, it's tense, it's a blast to play with friends and family. So grab your surfboard. I'll see you out on the party wave. Thanks so much for your time.
Yeah, in general, I feel pretty good. I feel pretty good about it. I mean, as far as like how much time it took versus how much time it's taken in the past, that was great. So what that allowed me to do, I mean, like picking that style where I did have a script, so I think having a script was really good, and I did take time to edit. Normally, I try to get everything in one take, and that ends up being pretty efficient. Even if, well, so what was nice is I what is it? Had my cake and ate it too, because I want something where they see my face, where they see me focusing on them. But that tends to be too much. That if you were out there surfing on those waves, you would be the boss. That's the thing. Well, thanks for that feedback. Thanks for that feedback. I like TTS a lot. Like that's one reason why I'm looking forward to TTS getting their 2.0, because I think it could look much better. But I think it's such a powerful tool, and partly because, like in the pitch video, you know, just throw the thing together. Whereas I think a lot of, I've seen pitch videos from some of my friends, and they have to do this, like they do the top-down camera and they get their hands going, and that's I like that too. I mean, I think there's a positive effect of like seeing a thing actually on the table. But I really value TTS because it is so efficient to use, even in this use case. But what I really liked, and definitely what I'll do in the future, is a portion of the video where it's like human connection. I'm looking at the camera, but that short intro is very doable in a couple of takes, and then I can just feel comfortable shifting to just the game on the screen, and then I can be reading off the script and doing multiple takes where I'll just pause and I know where I can cut the video with the movie magic of editing, and it really felt like a pretty efficient process. So I was very happy with that. I just recorded using OBS. So it was like screen recording of OBS. Got my decent microphone, and then I took it into like whatever the super basic stock media like video editor software is, Clipchamp or something like that. Yeah, Microsoft Clipchamp. Super basic editor. It allowed me to put in a couple transitions, fade in, fade out, and drop in the text at the end. It was like perfect. It didn't take me that long, which was the point. Get it done, get it out of the way. So in the email, I assembled the rulebook, the sell sheet, the video. Said I really appreciate your catalog. Thanks for opening up a call for dice games. Thanks for considering this little surfing game of mine. Here's all this stuff. All the best. And it was nice just to send it off. I have no idea what their process is to go through all those games. I'm not sure I would be looking forward to that at all. You know what though? I do want to send these items to other publishers. I was thinking, Paul at Gamehead, this might be a better fit than the little bidding game I sent them. But I could see this being like an all-play game. Like it's a small footprint. And I'd be happy to send it over to them. Probably not a flat out game like a Cascadia. It's not that puzzly. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna try to pick a few more publishers and just kind of send that email off, a similar email off to them. Yeah. All right. Well, with my remaining time, I want to jump back into Ravens. Also, I kind of want to get this. Wow. Interesting. So I won't go into detail, but it looked to me like um, so it looked to me like there was a student. So I just had my school email open. It looked to me like there was a student who is using AI, and then his teacher, who is like in the room with the students while they work on stuff for my class. She said he definitely wrote it, and it does not feel like high school writing to me. So that's a wow of like, really? Okay. All right. But yikes. Like that's pretty wild. So anyway, I want to get back to Ravens. That means opening up Discord because I have too long periods between Ravens, working on Ravens. And last I left off, I actually thought I was making some headway. Oh, we got a little member application. Let's do it. Let's do it, Skittles. Okay. We're going to have a nice time on Sunday. We're heading back out to Pearl Harbor in this nice little building that friends of ours can get in for. They've been playing there for a while. But they can reserve it. The guy works in the other half of the building, and it's just like, it's perfect. It's got some AC. It's spacious. There's room, to have the food going, and there's like a sink and a nice counter space for the potluck, and it's really a very comfortable little venue. And it was just their friend group playing there for a while. Some of their friends left, and they're also getting to know us better with the retreat. The retreat crew. And so they opened up, and then it's where we held our Valentine's thing. And it was great. Like, it was just really positive. It worked well. And anyway, it's just beautiful to see like these friends of ours also kind of relaxing and opening up a little bit and inviting people in. It's just really fun, and it's a cool thing. Let's do some Ravens. I like that, Francisco. I like that. I like that it's one way to show up. This is multimodal, Francisco, whereas on in the YouTube or Twitch chat, there's only one mode possible. I guess you can emoji, but I appreciate this expression of yours, Francisco. I do. That is really good. One more way to participate. That's really fun. I like that. Okay, so let me go see. Actually, I do cite you as an idea. Yeah. Let's see where I was. So revisited Ravens today, looked back over our ideas, felt very strongly that we were moving away from simplicity, the simplicity target. However, I still like the core idea of bag building and exploring a map. So I started today by trying a different size of terrain. So this was originally the case where, I had these big interlocking tiles, but it meant that movement was going to have to be like a real issue. Like, movement was going to be important, and like budgeting movement. But it also felt like once you discover things, why would you, like, let's say you start on the nest, on one of the nest tiles. I don't see it here. Let's say you start, it's here. You start on a nest tile, then you flip over, just 4 tiles, one of each, 5 tiles, one of each, plus Elijah. You would never need to flip over the other tiles, at least in the way that I thought the game was set up. Anyway, so you have to move, and then there were these empty spaces, and why are there empty spaces? It didn't really seem like there was a good reason for that in the end. So tried a different size, just shrunk everything. Okay, I felt like this would avoid any kind of movement inflation. That was my, I don't know if this phrase is perfect, but it makes sense to me. Reduce dead space between tiles, right? Because I don't know why force players to deal with extra movement. Like, what's the reason for that? I don't, except that maybe you could have some Ravens that are like specialized for movement. I guess that'd be the only reason. But then that complexity is probably not the level of complexity we're aiming for. Where you have like really different, like asymmetric birds. No need for that. Okay. After playing with this idea for a little, where was I? Reduce dead space between tiles and keep movement rules and placement rules really simple. Yeah. After playing with this idea for a little while, I now think just to make terrain tiles individual hexes that allow players that make players draw X number of tiles from a bag. From Francisco, that's you. When you reveal a tile, it shows a number of a certain type of resource. Or should they be random, unknown, and include predators? Or should some tiles have random while others are known? Place that many of that resource on the tile. When that resource is gone, it's not replaced. When it's gone, instead draw a token from the bag. So let's see. I feel like single hex tiles will work. Simple placement rule. A new tile needs to touch previously placed tiles with 2 of its edges. Sounds genius. That's right. Yeah, because we have this issue of like oh, it's exactly this example. If you draw all 5 of these tiles, then you have no reason to go anywhere, except that you can deplete what's on the tiles. So I don't know what this last line is about. When it's gone, instead draw a token from the bag. Like what? I don't know where. Place that many of that resource on the tile. When that resource is gone, it's not replaced. Yeah. So what is the why did I add this? When it's gone, instead draw a token from the bag. I don't know what that means. Just like one. Oh, maybe it was the idea that these are face up. Some would be face up, some would be face down, or something like that. Not too sure. I'm gonna open up TTS. Wow, look at all this stuff running. Okay. Let's go with launch. Tabletop simulator. You ever made an omelet in the microwave, Francisco? It was honestly it's like pretty impressive actually. Like basically do everything that you would do to prep an omelet, and then wow, how far back do I have to look? Hopefully not too far. Okay. I wonder if I have all the tiles. Nope. Okay. Well, how many do I have in here? So 13 tiles in there. Then what are the tokens like? Oh, I know one thing I made these little tokens. As upgrades. Oh, here they are. Here are the tokens. Let's see what's in these bags. Okay. Okay, yeah. Were you... Was this for you? 16, 16. Oh, no. Wait a second. Why are these two over here? So, prep the Just prep the eggs as usual. Because these were the Egg McMuffins I had this morning. Just threw a couple English muffins into the toaster oven with a slice of cheese on one of the faces of each one. That toasted, melted the cheese, perfect. And then just prep the eggs. I did 2 eggs. I think the suggestion I saw yesterday was to add a little mayo. So I whipped in some mayo, some salt and pepper, a little bit of water. They suggest milk, but actually I remember from Oprah when I was like in elementary school that water makes a fluffier omelet. So for some reason that stuck with me. It was an important moment for me, Oprah, in telling me that. So then just like whisk everything up together till it's smooth, put it in the microwave for a minute. I checked it, it was still a little bit runny. I put it in for another minute and it just set up nicely. It was a little bit loose on the very bottom, but I just split it between the 2 English muffins and then just had a delicious little breakfast. It was perfect. Yeah, we use a little milk. Yeah, that was the contest. It was between milk and water, and I don't know why the lady said that water was better. I don't remember why. Anyway, let me see how many tokens. So we have 16 tokens. I have 5. That feels wrong, like the 5 X's. Yeah, 4 X's and 3 sunsets. 4 X's and 3 sunsets. And so I guess this is in here. Like, what was this guy doing out here? Okay. Also, I'm not sure I needed, like, what were these human, maybe the human tiles are just like nothing tiles? I don't know. Let me look at this. Wait, there's a bag in the bag? Nice. I don't see a reason why we should be drawing tiles. It's probably the case that we just flip everything, and I don't have a tile back. Wait, let me make a quick tile back. Oh, Canva, what would we do without Canva? I have not been able to get like any full playtesting done with this CGE game because I'm in the playtesting server now. I have access to their online like BGA like thing, and I have not gotten a full playtest of their new game in, and I feel kind of silly about that. It's probably this one. Yeah, I think it's the learning curve, and then I started clicking through a game, and I was making progress and understanding stuff, but then just getting back to it, it hasn't felt like something I've had time and energy for. I'd like to be super helpful in there. It'd be cool to like be a part of that group, and then, kind of, yeah, be like a regular person that like helps work on those games and stuff. But I just haven't gotten around to it. Okay, what are you up to? Why are you blank? Like, I guess it's just a nothing tile. There's humans there, too bad. Or I guess it wouldn't have to be pink anymore either. We have mountains, forests, and plains. this is not meaningful, I guess. What would be a good way to... You know what I'll do? I'll just bring in... I'm going to bring in one of each of these and just shrink them down and arrange them so it kind of looks like just a group of tiles. That it could be nothing fancy. Oops. I'll shrink everything. Did you ever follow up with that? I remember there was that person. I tagged you in something. It was something about like pixel art. Did you ever figure out what they were really wanting? It didn't sound like it was exactly what you would do, but it seemed related. I'm just not sure. Oh, Canva. It's unfortunate that... I mean, that's not bad. Do I even need the pink ones anymore? I'm not too sure.